This video is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 229. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. Ow! Could I possibly have more to say? What? I do, and here goes. This week, I got to really look at the new Black Templar Codex. Oh, and it looks like Games Workshop was really cooking. But you know what else is really cooking? That's right, today's sponsor. DuckDuckGo's browser provides all the great utility of its search engine, but everywhere you go. I've used their search engine for years to prevent being tracked, DuckDuckGo's signature feature, but now with their browser, I can take that privacy with me wherever I go on the internet. DuckDuckGo is the best way to make sure those pesky trackers and cookies that other browsers let in are kept out. Getting the new browser is easy. Go to duckduckgo.com, click Download Browser, and it'll download automatically. It's available on all your devices, from PC or Mac to iOS or Android. It's easy to sync up with DuckDuckGo if you've been using a browser like Chrome too. Simply go to the app, import your passwords and bookmarks, privately sync up your data across your devices, and you're good to go. Using their search engine in their browser makes sure I'm tracked as little as possible. No matter what Warhammer I am buying, won't mean I'll be seeing nothing but Skaven on the side of every website I visit for months, thanks to DuckDuckGo app. Also available are AI Assist tools. Completely optional, simply click the button and you'll generate some quick AI answers with actual cited sources. And just like with their tracker blocking features, these answers will stay private on your device. No worry about collecting your data for training or other purposes. Head on over to DuckDuckGo to get their browser and start securely surfing the web today. Click the link in the description for an easy and quick way there. The app is always free and easy to switch to, so get surfing today. Black Templar have had a rough ride in 10th edition. We started out the edition kind of being one of the best Space Marines because of how well our Righteous Crusade, or how well our datasheets worked within the regular vanilla Space Marine datasheets, particularly our vehicles, which originally had free multi-meltas. And so if you were bringing a lot of Space Marine vehicles, it was just worth it to bring the Black Templar vehicles because they were just strictly better than the regular ones. Games Workshop cracked down on that, and they're like, Black Templar players should be playing Black Templar. They shouldn't be winning tournaments without bringing Crusader squads. And so we got nerfed pretty hard because of that. And then later on, somebody in France decided to play Swarm Black Templar with nothing but Crusader squads and Sword Brethren. And then our datasheets got nerfed really hard again to try to stop us from bringing giant 20-man blobs of Crusader squads. And so we kept kind of getting whittled away. But we've always been decently strong. Now, with the Codex, I'm really interested to see if this stuff is gonna be busted good, or if it's just gonna be like good. I mean, I've played against a lot of close combat Space Marines, Blood Angels, World Eaters. World Eaters are really hard to play against. They're just in your face so quickly, and they're so good in close combat, and Karn the Betrayer is so annoying, and he has a resurrect ability. The Hellbrute in World Eaters is disgusting. It has a rule where if you punch it, it gets to punch back, and this can be ridiculous in close combat because, like, if it kills something, it's allowed to consolidate if there's a nearby unit, and so it can consolidate into that unit, and then that unit has to punch the Hellbrute, and then the Hellbrute gets to punch again. Like, it can, it's bad. And so, but there's a lot of really cool Space Marine focused close combat rules for other armies, but not so much for Black Templars until now. We don't get access to Oath the Moment anymore, but we do get our vows, our Black Templars vows. And the one that looks really good is just +1 to wound against things that are tougher than you and things that are the same toughness as you, which on strength 4 and up is most things in the game. This is really good because it recontextualizes most of the Space Marine datasheets, because regular old vanilla chainswords going into Space Marines are wounded on 3s. And that is a really big deal. Like, I'm really excited for things like in regular old Assault Intercessors and Assault Intercessors with jump packs. Assault Intercessors are actually really interesting. Cheapest way to run Space Marines at 75 points, and they get to reroll the wound roll, or no, they get, it's either +1 to wound or reroll the wound roll against things in when you're standing on an objective. I think it's reroll. And so all of a sudden they're getting +1 to wound, reroll, 3-up chainswords. That's pretty darn good. And that's just a generic Space Marine unit. I have a bunch of those guys. And so there's a bunch of stuff like that that's got me really excited for Black Templar, but also a lot of our data sheets changed a lot. It's all good. There's only a couple of tiny little things that aren't really exciting, but a couple of data sheet changes are very, very interesting. The two new kids on the block, the Execrator, our unique chaplain, looks to be really, really good in close combat. He can have a Crozius and a Pyre Pistol. I love a good Pyre Pistol, but once again, it's never worth it to take the Pyre Pistol because if he's holding his Boinkin Stick and a Power Sword, he gets a bunch of extra really good melee attacks. And so you give up the Pyre Pistol. So my army, every time I can put on a Pyre Pistol, I try to put on a Pyre Pistol because it's just funny to me to have a flamethrower pistol that's actually really good. But you gotta give him the Power Sword, the Master Crafted Power Sword. Every Black Templar who can hold a Power Sword can now hold a Master Crafted Power Sword, which is, no, it's not sustained hits, it's lethal hits. Lethal hits Power Swords are really, really good. And AP flat damage 2. Love a good flat damage 2. He's also got a lovely bouquet of special abilities. He gives advance and charge to whatever unit he's attached to. Really, really, really good. I know a lot of World Eaters players were really bummed that a lot of things in their army kind of lost advance and charge. Although advance and charge can be scary because sometimes you roll a 1 for that advance. And then it's like, oh, my whole day is different now because I'm not gonna make it into close combat. But advance and charge is really, really good, especially on a relatively cheap fella. And then he's got Condemnatory Annihilation. If this model's unit destroys an enemy unit in the fight phase, enemy units within 6 inches, this model must take a battle shock. Battle shock. They can't all be perfection, but that advance and charge is really, really good. Then we've got the Crusade Ancient, the new Banner Boy. Space Marine Ancients aren't very good, but this guy is about as good as it gets. He actually gets a bunch of nice attacks with his Mastercrafted Power Sword, so he's kind of worth it to attach to a squad for that because you're upping their melee ability quite a bit. And then he gives 4-up Fight on Death. Fight on Death is really, really good. 4-up Fight on Death is 50-50. It's okay. I would have liked it to be 3-up Fight on Death or maybe just automatic. But if it was automatic Fight on Death, see, the tricky thing is automatic Fight on Death would be perfectly fine and reasonable on like a squad of Assault Intercessors, but it's not as fine and okay on like a big squad of Sword Brethren. And so Games Workshop has to balance, the most powerful thing with the least powerful thing. And even though it would be fun on the least powerful thing, it would be busted on the most powerful thing. So I get why it's 50-50. And then if this guy who's attached to, if his unit kills the thing in close combat, then +5 objective control, that's really, really good. It's not the most exciting ability in the world, but it is really good and powerful and really good for just helping you hold down some objectives. The two new guys are pretty good. They're not super crazy exciting. The detachment that's all about the Crusade Ancient is kind of so I don't feel like I need to run out and buy 3 of these suckers, but I definitely want some Execrators. Those guys are the brand new guys, but the things that are returning from Index Black Templar that are very, very changed are our little Marshal and Castellan. Black Templar get our own unique captain and lieutenant, and previously they were just a little bit worse, but a little bit cheaper. Now they're a little bit better and the same price. The Marshal is fantastic. Models crit on 5-ups, which is amazing because all of our chainswords got sustained hits 1. It's sustained hits 1 chainswords, critting on 5s and 6s. That's gonna be monstrous. It's gonna be so many attacks, probably getting +1 to wound for whatever they're charging into. Like a 10 brick of Crusader squads are just going to absolutely explode with the chainsword swings. Really, really excited for that. I absolutely love this model. I painted one up, it's glorious. And he's got a second ability. Once per game, this model's melee weapon is +1 attack per enemy unit within 6 inches to a maximum of 3. That's not bad because he naturally gets 7. So that means he basically naturally gets 8 because he's always gonna be within range of at least 1. and 6 inches is a pretty big bubble, so you could get up to that 2 or 3 for the max. The Marshal is just really, really good. But the Castellan has also got me kind of interested. Previously, the Castellan was fine, but now the Castellan is a little bit better than fine. This guy has got a funky reroll hit rolls. It's reroll hit rolls, but then take a battle shock check, and if you pass it, you reroll all the hit rolls. If you're gonna pass the battle shock check, it's a 6 up, so that's really, really good. But also, he pairs really nicely with the new and improved Sword Brethren. Now I say improved. They lost their ability, which was at the start of the fight phase. This unit can pick between +1 damage or +1 attack. Unbelievably incredible, arguably broken. It never ever happens where the unit makes, or like the generic bodyguard unit makes the character better, but this was an instance where it did. So if you attached Helbrecht to this squad, he would get the benefit of the +1 damage or the +1 attack, which was absolutely monstrous and made for one of the most powerful units in the entire game. But it was almost always crazy overkill for the +1 damage. Even the +1 attack was a little silly at times. So they lost that. And so now, what do they even do? Enemy unit falls back from this squad. It can make a normal move. That's actually not bad. If a unit just walks away, then they can also just kind of walk away. One of the lamest things in 10th edition is if you're in close combat with a squad that's not battle shook, they can just walk away. Like, no, they can't. I'm literally fighting you. I'm swinging chain swords. I'm grabbing you by the throat. Like, how are guardsmen just walking away from this? But they're allowed to do it. But if they do it, then I get to do it. That's actually a really nice ability on the Sword Brethren. And their profiles just got cranked. So now they're hitting on 2s with everything, which is glorious. All of their power swords are now mastercrafted power swords with lethal hits, and their chain swords. The chain swords on these suckers. This is one of those units that used to have a lot of flexibility back in the days of points, but you'd kind of always pick the good stuff because they had access to the good stuff. And then in 10th edition, obviously, you're already paying for the good stuff. The power swords, the power weapons, the lightning claws, the thunder hammer. And so you just automatically take those things. Now, there's something to be said for that chainsword because it's 6 attacks a piece with the chainsword. Sustained hits 1. You attach that to a Marshal or to a Castellan, and all of a sudden you're re-rolling hit rolls of 1, or you're re-rolling the entire hit roll so you can fish for those 6s. Like, it's kind of nuts. It reminds me of like back in the days of 6th edition Warhammer, where every model was 1 attack. They got 1 attack because they were 1 model, but if they were like a crazy model, like a Khorne Berserker, they got 2 punches because they're just wild. And now these generic Space Marines get 6 punches apiece. It definitely seems like there's some power creep going on, but maybe not, because Space Marines didn't always have 2 wounds. And if you go by the wounds, these guys have 3 wounds apiece, so that's 2 punches per wound, where originally Space Marines would be 1 wound and they would throw 2 punches on that 1 wound. Like, there's definitely like power creep in Warhammer 40,000 to the max, but maybe it's not as ridiculous as it sounds. I don't know, I'm excited to swing 6 chainsword swings. That is absolutely wild. Right now I have 15 Sword Brethren, all built with all of the good weapons. I might build another 2 boxes of 5, all with chainsword. I also love the idea of like dual wielding chainswords, which seems extra appropriate because they throw so many chainsword attacks. And another really interesting thing is, and I don't know why, but now they can be taken in squads of 4, 5, 9, or 10. I don't know why, presumably for transport shenanigans, but usually this happens when like there's a box, like a Dawn Eagle jet bikes for the Custodes. You can build one of those as a captain, and so then you would only have 2 guys left over in the box. And so instead of making people just buy another box to get that 3rd guy, you can take them in a squad of 2. Like, usually that's the reason why you get different unit sizes that you can purchase. I don't know why they did it for Sword Bro, but I'm very happy about it because granularity is always really nice. And a 4-man squad is 105 points. which seems really, really cheap. You slap a 60-point Castellan on there, you're up to 165 points for a unit that can really do some very serious damage. I am really, really excited about the amount of chainswords I'm going to be bringing to games of 40k. Now, the only thing that had me a little bit nervous was some of the other data sheets. One of the things that I usually bring from vanilla Codex Space Marines is Terminators. I love a good Terminator. I have 30 of them. And I was really nervous to see what was going to happen because they were one of the data sheets that was going to change for Black Templar, because Terminator's special ability triggers on Oath of Moment, and we no longer get access to Oath of Moment, so we got our own unique Terminator data sheet. And the special ability is, if units want to fall back from the Terminators, they have to take a Desperate Escape test. That's not better than +1 to hit. Actually, it's quite a bit worse. It's fine. Like, it might make my opponent decide not to fall back and just stay in close combat, which is okay. But also, my Terminators have lost access to the 5-up Feel No Pain from Righteous Crusade. Can't do that no more, so Terminators, that was the only thing holding on to the Terminators, because they're not very good. Like, Terminators are fine, but they're pretty expensive for what they can do. They get their teleport homer, they can do some shenanigans, but vanilla Terminators are kind of dead right now for me. I do kind of want some Assault Terminators still, but losing access to the 5-up Feel No Pain is pretty sticky. Also, hilariously, we get our own Sternguard veteran, because Sternguard also have a rule that triggers on Oath. What do our Sternguard even do? Oh, they get +1 to hits if they're shooting, or no, they get +1, reroll wound rolls of 1 if they're shooting the closest enemy unit. That's fine. That's pretty good, especially if you're fishing for devastating 6s with their combi weapons. And they're 85 points, which is hilariously cheap. Generic Space Marines, just regular intercessors with bolters are 80 points. And to get like the legendary First Company veterans, it's 5 extra points. That's kind of funny. I might proxy just some regular intercessors as Sternguard just to play around with them, just because they're 5 extra points. And it's essentially the same model as Space Marine with a bolter. So that's a little funny, but I don't know if I'll bring... Getting sticky and double shoot with the regular guys is kind of better than fishing for some devs. I don't know, I'll have to play around with it, but it is fun that we get our own unique Sternguard veteran. But speaking of our own unique, we here at EonsOfBattle have done something very unique. We've been getting deep into Trench Crusade here at EonsOfBattle, and this has accumulated in our most ambitious project ever, our first ever campaign, The Catacombs of the Blessed Dead. A collaboration between EonsOfBattle and Trench Crusade for digital and physical terrain. Delve beneath the ruined earth to find the Catacombs, a labyrinth of deadly corridors and claustrophobic hallways, studded with the bones of the blessed men and women who have fallen in holy war. This officially licensed terrain pack includes everything you need to recreate this dangerous modular maze. We also have original, compatible, resin-cast miniatures, perfect for your grimdark miniature battles. The Trench Sappers and the Grace of Flesh. Soldiers and demons locked in eternal conflict. The pre-campaign is up. You can follow the link in the description to see what we're offering and to be the first to know what else is coming. And you know what else is coming? The vehicles for the Black Templar. The Land Raider Crusader, invented by the Black Templars, is back and better than ever. It has a bunch of lovely rules. Things can disembark and charge. It could always do that, but it can continue to still be able to do that. It still has the grenades keyword, so it can throw grenades, which is hilarious. And it has a new ability. If it shoots, it can mark an enemy unit, and then models disembarking from that unit can reroll the hit and wound roll, can reroll ones to hit and wound for that targeted unit. That is okay. I would kind of prefer, I guess I can split my shots. So I could just shoot like, I guess the assault cannon at something, and then everything else into something else, because I wouldn't want to dump my entire Land Raider into something and then dump another unit into it to try to kill it. Sometimes that would be valuable, but one problem with the Land Raider Crusader is it doesn't really do anything other than being a big, beautiful boat for a nice close combat unit. Other than that, for 220 points, it's kind of hard to include it in the list because it just doesn't do a whole lot. It's the Black Templar thing. We have to do it. It is glorious, but is it worth 220 points? No, it's really not. But I have one, and it's glorious. I brought it to so many tournaments and games, and it does something. I mean, it keeps units safe, but it's really, really hard to justify. What's looking like it's not hard to justify at all is the Repulsor Executioner, the only one of the new Primaris vehicles that I don't own. The Repulsor Executioner comes with an absolute silly amount of guns, and it now has a Black Templar specific rule. It's just called Special Rule. Reroll shooting hit rolls that target units within 12 inches of friendly Astartes models. That is super incredibly easy to do, especially for Black Templar, who love to be in close combat with everything in the entire enemy opponent's army. And so rerolling hit rolls, that is really, really good. It's an absurd number of guns. And I actually really appreciate this being good. Even though they should have made the Land Raider good because I already have one, I would be down for getting a Repulsor Executioner or two. But it's really nice to have a really solid shooting platform be good in a close combat focused army, because close combat can't solve every single problem all of the time. It's really nice to have some shooting. I remember when Sean and I were going through the new Emperor's Children Codex, they don't have any shooting. Like, they have no shooting at all to deal with really, really bad things. Like, if they're going up against knights, it's gonna be a challenge. Where giving us a really, really nice, powerful shooting platform that is like available to us and really good quality, that has access to some rerolls without needing to take away any of like our stratagems or our abilities from our melee combat. It's a really, really nice benefit to a Black Templar force on the tabletop, and I might need to buy two. Also, this guy is 220 points as well, which seems absurd. It's crazy that this is like the same as the Land Raider Crusader, but it's so not. Like, it's identical almost stat-wise. It moves 2 inches slower, but other than that, it's identical, except for it comes with so many more much, much better guns. They had one box of this at my friendly local game store. I didn't pull the trigger. Maybe I should have. Because I need one of these. I need at least one of these, if not two. Repulsor Executioner seems to be where it's at for Black Templar. The new Black Templar Codex looks absolutely fantastic. It's changed everything. It recontextualized so many generic Space Marine datasheets. It's got a couple of new detachments. The detachments don't have me super crazy excited, but I can still use all of the old Space Marine detachments. Actually, that's not true. I can't use First Company Task Force because it triggers on Oath, and so I'm specifically not allowed to use that detachment. Now, that's the worst detachment ever written for Space Marines, so it's not that big a deal. Literally, it doesn't actually do anything anymore because the detachment rule for that detachment is you get Old Oath back for 1 turn. However, if you're a regular Codex compliant chapter, you already get Old Oath. So it literally doesn't do anything. If you want some stratagems that trigger on Terminators, then you can use that detachment. But other than that, no one takes that detachment. I don't think I've ever even played it. And I've played almost every single Space Marine detachment. I think I have played every Space Marine detachment except for that one. So yeah, I'm not allowed to use First Company Task Force. What a shame. Everyone keeps saying the Grotsmith's Black Templar detachment is really bad. I really want to play it. I think it's +1 or +2 inches on all of your infantry models. Like, I get that that's not maybe game changing, but I just seeing your Space Marines absolutely zoom across the board, it just seems fun to me. I don't know. I'll have to play around with that one. And I might be playing around with it with some Repulsor Executioners. It's gonna take a long time to build. I built the regular Repulsor. I like 80% built the regular Repulsor. It's, I think, like 4 humongous vehicle sprues. It is a monster of a model kit. But I'm ready to go for the Repulsor Executioner. Yeah, it's a good day to be Black Templar. Thanks for watching. And don't forget about DuckDuckGo, linked in the description.